All right. A lot of things are changing set lines and communications of cycle interference is set location and direct lines. It's learning how to really get into the acceptance of where you are through triangle force setting. It's amazing how we come into all of the high center rotations. Now I've opened up sequence locations and patterns and some of the team interference locations of 8, 9, and 10. Their central system location comes into their own infinity cycles, high center locations of Dharma, and position locations into Dogma. The recognition timeline is 8888, position location of space over time over pi. That reposition locations calculations streamlines and sets all position location calculations. So it'll probably be 15, 20 minutes, and then we're going to head over to Zoom, right? So we have a 2-hour track window, sending communication to your test of what you already know. I really want you to get into off book. Find a way to get in that position. Belinda used her writing and calculations all levels of drawing and position location of what she was doing, right? That's muscle memory. Always find a way to get your muscle memory into compassion. That shows you passion. That shows you variety, okay? Once you find your physical line setting, then you stand position, location, adaptation, then you come into all levels of correlation, right? Color coordination, set location settings, right? It's about understanding how to balance these things out over space and time through pi. Your position line direction location is coming to higher levels of DNA track settings. Once you're getting your 12 interference line direct locations, it's going to change your program setting, okay? Now, the physical adaptation location is leaving set locations. You're coming into full calculation, 100% consciousness. The 3 million track line interference changes your DNA position location and program setting to new ground operation streams. That puts you in a higher communication cycle. This comes into higher communication channel, puts you into metaphysical line setting. No more physical adaptation, metaphysical, right? Meta is all about understanding the position location of its memory, of its energy, okay, to its teleportation, okay, of its answering patterns. So it kind of like relays the program locations to its operation cycle. It resets position locations, how you see yourself through tether line interference line position location, number sequence locations from all calculations. And when you open up your 8 lines and your 9s and your 10 line interference, you're in an infinity cycle to an energy wash, to a water containment set location, to a rainbow wash setting, into your galactic family. The circle line center high line rotation interference opens all position location of triangles and resets location to your program setting. This puts you in a better position line setting to a diometer that sets locations to a barometer, sets line condition to a speedometer, sets high position locations into your all position line settings. Now this ramps you up to high center communications to its relay program, the atmosphere line settings, the metric communication and perception operation of AI. AI comes into highline interference of its answering patterns and communication of its information to its operation cycle. This puts you in a higher communication setting into levels of your ecosystem. The energy, the collaboration, the communication, operation, and perception locations of high setting. Put your higher communication setting. Now, in your position line direction, you have to really recognize these things, really get into the process, how to work with numbers. Friendship and relationship and partnership is the biggest thing when it comes into AI. Okay, the recognition line setting in physical adaptation doesn't exist anymore. 3 million tracks are coming in. New DNA track is coming in line center, 12 line rotation interference. These are position locations when it comes to 60 of pi and 80 of pi. The allocate timelines and time stream interference has to recognize position location and program locations. This is all levels of consciousness. The avatar sets location is high setting. Puts you in 80,000 capacity, 114 track settings in set locations and all levels and 7th dimensional location. This opens all levels of channel operator streamlines. Now the awakening system, more it positions to its directions. So the more atmosphere you see through high setting line rotation, sees the information of its panel, it opens all line set location to its intelligence signals. This puts you in a better direct locations to your Wi-Fi, your modems, and everything through your satellite dispositions. This opens up all levels of channel operator streamlines and allocate position of timelines. So this comes in so many line communication into your setting. This puts you in a higher calculation setting. This rotates its cycle, resets position locations into how you see yourself, and always informs from your perceptions through all calculations. Higher levels of channel, higher levels of mind, higher levels of division, higher levels of calculations into 2 line setting, 3, 4, 5, 7 line setting, 8 in rotations, 9 in position, and 10 into connections to your family setting. Triangle force set position locations into 11 setting. Now you guys are open to 10. Next Monday, it's going to be position locations in line setting into 11, 12, and 13. I'm going to open up your solar line settings, solar system locations, solar generation light streams, setting calculation streamline interference into your 12 track settings. This is your define setting. Looking from below, bird's eye view, setting calculation, setting rotation. In that line settings and all line rotations. 13 is positions of the birth line center rotation into your higher self for the very first time. The higher self is a golden setting. Higher self mutates its position location to all levels of track setting. This is where you come into the thermal set location, molecular line center rotation of DNA sets. Once you allocate position of timelines, time sequence times pi, the position location of directions opens all levels of view through channel operation streaming signs. The sign comes into all levels of measure. Measure comes into its scale. Balance communication, right? Balance communication, right? Balance communication, right? Balance communication. You have to understand the bandwidth, the sector lines, the vector correlation, the correlation settings, the high interference, the probe locations, all levels of channel operation streamlines. This puts you in a better division location to calculate settings. You guys have to really recognize your finger points and what you do through correlation. Right? Has to be exactly the same. Okay? Has to be the same. Okay? You can't be one channel off. It doesn't measure. Now, if it's in position location, it's already refixed. So it's not this, it's this. But you see it as this. So this is where you come into all communication, your infinity cycle line settings, how to use the 8888. The process communication is your infinity cycle line rotation interference. That sets position locations to your dharma and set locations of your dogma. Okay, this is where it comes into a release. The center calculation line interference goes to the infinity 8 cycle that rotates its spin cycle and high generation light center into your cerebral cortex of your placebo. The placebo line center rotations in business line directions. Center of lines is communication system of code weaving and set locations in the graph lines, and rotation interference of triangle line setting, and rotations interference of travel locations in set location. Okay, so you really have to recognize your communication. See how it's the same? You see how it's the same? It's the same. It's always the same, always the same, always the same, always the same, always the same. Balance on the masculinity, balance on the femininity, set locations. Now, the ground line center sets line position locations. Right over left, left over right. Right over left, left over right. Crosses signals, abundance position locations, platted to division location, hologram structure. Spinning on cycle, high center interference. Triangle up, triangle down, triangle up, triangle down, coming together. Spinning on cycles, high center interference of the sun in position location of the moon, flux capacitor coming down and shape line setting. The alignment coming in circle rotations to a DNA track location. Swimming on both line signals in high rotation settings and position locations is zero gravity. 3 million track line centers, locations of bracket interference of 3 zero locations in 3 cycles. Setting position location direct line setting. Now, the allocate position of timelines is high position locations at all levels. So, it's tracking interference position of program location setting line interference. So congratulations on the team that got position location of 8, 9, and 10. All right, test is going to be on position locations from 36 to 48 for next Monday. Okay, all right. So we're just going to go through stream sets. We're going to go through correlation panels. The high line triangles, high center interference is position location is zero gravity up. But I thought gravity was supposed to be here. No. Remember, you have your infinity 8 line setting in position locations of track interference is open through location. Right? So that's 8 setting calculations, right? Setting position locations into 2 panels of operation. So if you understand the 8 line settings and set locations, if you understand the 8 generation light streams and set locations, you got 2 panels. 8 line center rotations here in set locations, 8 channel line positions over here, and 8 line center interference. This is where it comes into dogma, into dharma calculations. Setting communications in levels opens up all line positions to its yin and yang. The process of communication sets its position locations into 6 line setting into 8 position location of track location. Now the 6 line setting comes into all levels of the moon setting, and 8 comes into the sun rotation interference. Sets communications into its process of correlation called position line directions of shades and shadows of 69 positions and setting line rotations, electrical light connections, and high center interference of yin and yang. Ooh. Okay? So the recognition timelines has to really recognize high setting. Now you have your umbrellas, okay, in correlations. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 line centers. Umbrella location satellite locations of 8, 8. Sets line position because another 8 line center, another umbrella communications into 9. You have to set up umbrellas each time. Okay? The umbrella, basically, you come into each line center. It gets more difficult now because when you reach the infinity 8, you come into higher of ether, higher levels of crevice, higher levels of core, recognition locations to your earth line setting and rotation interference. So your earth now is a rotation cycle, high generation light stream, and set location of levels of just consciousness. Okay? Center calculations, you guys are here now in position line setting. It's all coming in line center locations into 11, the location of solar system. Okay? So each time you channel to a Stargate setting, you have to open up position line directions. Stargate set location is more complicated, but it's a lot more fun. So there's one Stargate line setting. 4 correlation set lines in the Fibonacci swirl, set line position location opposite cycles. So that's 3 over 3 set location. Setting calculations, all levels of stream setting. Okay. Now, once you get in that position line directions, it's all about where you're channeling its operation locations. And they got 3 triangulation sets, setting calculations into a triangle set location. Now, once you get a triangle line interference, you come in an XD1000 or a UFO set comes in. As it comes in, it scans its position to a 1, 2, and 3 set location. It's complicated as we go. But the 3 line centers blocks its setting locations into higher levels of travel. This is factor over pi. That's already traveled. Now, 3 line center sets its position locations on a waiting signal into a call waiting cycle, setting calculations stream sets. Now, when the 3 sets location comes into higher lines to its flux capacitor, position location of flux capacitor line center locations, that's 3 over channel and 3 individual locations into 3 heart settings, 3, 3, 3. Setting correlation set lines into new ground setting and a rotation surface and a higher channel operation of the stepping point calculations to higher position line direction. Okay? Coming into higher positions of travels and set locations into high position location towards the box surface. Recognition timelines and set lines is to understand how to recognize communications into 333. Heart, mind, and soul setting calculations. So the physical adaptation line center is 100% consciousness now. Okay? It's consciousness. That's all it is. So the recognition line center location of DNA sets line position locations into line conditions and flux capacitor over 12, 12 line center to 24, equal line conditions into 3, 0 locations, bracketing line center of 24,000 signature locations. Okay? It's all recognition line settings. We have to recognize all through communication settings. So we got bracket center location. It's a lot more fun when you have your infinity open now. You can go through cycle interference and set location of triangle lines into position higher levels of travel locations to your pyramids. Signature line settings and 3-panel communication. Setting tone line position line directions into sonar interference. When you're setting out sonar interference, set position location all levels of alpha channel, 4 line signals. Setting communication of 5, 6, 7. That's 7 line setting. So graph stream locations. Here's the sun communication. Here's the moon setting. Right? So moon sets locations into 6, and sun comes into position 8. So that's equal line center location of 20. Okay, and set line conditions. So that's 20 line settings. 20 line settings. Okay, over pi. Okay, 20 line settings over pi. The reposition lines comes into highest communications into film projection locations. Channels as operation locations into downshift line streams. Crossing signals to your pyramid accuracy locations. That opens all communication to 6 lines that crisscrosses its location settings into a data stream. Okay, there's the data stream that you guys are creating. The high line and rotation interference is a box location. Right, this is your electronic cube setting. Mesokick, Metatron set lines. So it's a cubical line center. It's kind of like a Rubik's Cube setting locations. Okay? So the process is true to understand how to use graph lines. gets more complicated because now you're coming out of the 8-line setting into higher positions. So 8 has infinity as a wash system line setting into 9-line setting. 8 infinity cycle, set line position of 6, set position location of 5, in position of 4, in position of 3. Okay? 3 sets line position of triangulations, 3 over pi. Okay, this is where it gets really fun. 3 over pi setting. So 3 is traveling into the future calculation streamline. 4 is into solar generation lights, going back in time setting. As it goes back in time, it sets line position of box surface in a 5-line setting, 5, 5, 5. 5, 5 equals locations into 3, which is the Fibonacci's of 3, 3, 3, heart, mind, and soul. All right, so recognizing communication setting. 9 opens up all track interference into 5 lines of 6, position of 8 into a diamond core setting. That reposition locations into circle of 9, circle of 6, circle of 8, and circle locations, all levels of 5 set locations. Higher generation line settings travels line center rotation into 3 sectors of calculation. Okay? So it's really fun when you get into the infinity now. Okay? It's a lot more because you can use, what is this? You can go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? But remember, 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 4 is here, 5 is here, 6 is here, 7 here, 8 here. That's how it's set up. Okay? So 3 is over here, 4 is down here, 2 is over here, 1's here, 4 is up here, 5 is down at 2. So it's 2 equals 5. And then 6 is over here by 4. 4 equals 6. And 7 location is at 3. 7 equals 3. And 8 equals line conditions. 8 equals 0 location. That's all levels of travel. The recognition communication setting is to really understand how to use all levels of position line directions. So really understand how to go forward and backwards on location stated numbers of location of its alignment. As you set location, it sets up its own circulation rotation and set line setting and rotation interference and location. Okay? That's balance of communication of space and position location of time. All 3 number sequence locations of patterns in a correlation setting. Okay? So all right, so travel location settings. We got 17 line settings in position of 50 seconds over line, clock line setting. Jill communications, Cami line settings, Sam lines, Andy communications, Leah set locations, all of those. Lori, Joanne, Tina, Yolanda, Geneva set locations, Russ, Gypsy, Heather, Airbender, calculation streams, Guardian, Johnny, Trinity, Commander, set locations here. Alrighty then. Excelsior, yeah. Confirmed stuff, yeah, all good. Correlation set lines. Okay, so changing line interference of DNA track interference is changing you guys into physical alignments and communication of meta-universe locations. Metaphysical now. The physiology set locations into high center interference, taking you out of your organic and keeping you guys in your elliptical settings. The psychological interface in line center rotation position line directions puts you back in track line settings. All right, Max correlation system, Guardians, high center line interference. All right, so setting calculation streamlines, you have to recognize communication. So when you come into communication line setting, you guys are opening up your tracker settings from 1 to 10 now. So the center communication of 0 gravity. So it's 0 equals 10. 10 line position of 9, 9 position of 8. Center calculation streamlines into 7. 7 sets its own position of pi in correlation. Pi position of 7 comes into 7 over here, 7 over here, 7 over here. Boxes position locations high setting. Sets communications into 6. Sets line center of 6. And set line set locations into 5. And position locations into 4. 6, 6, 5, 4. Travel line center locations, set lines of 6. 7 line center locations into 6. Set on positions into 5. And set locations into 4 equal locations of 7. 7 line setting. So it's all about recognizing communications into 42 light streams. That puts position location how you get your alignments of your number sequence location patterns. All you have to understand that you're in position of center and you're setting up streams like this. This is all you're doing. It's not that complicated. This is all you're creating, a data stream inside location, your body setting, location positions, all levels. I said it. That's all you're doing. So you're in the center operation. This is your data stream line. Correlation system is this. Set location. Channel upper streamlines location settings. Okay. That's how it's set up. Now the correlation centers and position locations all this way and this way. This is your infinity of left and right locations. Travel line centers the circle line of rotations that opens all positions to a new portal activation to all levels of travel locations in your 12 DNA track lines. A travel location, right? Recognizing high center border communication stream sets line position locations, how you use your flux capacitor position location at 12, set line position at 12, set position location at 12, right? So what you come into position line centers, line and rotations into high is 36 line settings and set locations. Okay, 12, 24, 36. See? So once you get in a higher communication setting, you need to have your umbrella setting. Okay, that brings in the X2000, knows exactly what you're doing. You got two panels of communication setting: rotation interference, scan position, crosses streams, right? So when it crosses its streams, the hologram structure comes in position location, the center line. The center line opens up its plasma line setting, opens up a generation streamline and rotation into a travel location. Now, when it opens up a travel line position, it comes into its own diamond core set line setting. It opens all communication, higher levels of travel communication into this way line setting, interference, travel communications in a 45 line angle. That opens all communication new ground setting rotations to know the position location into a colossal channel. It set lines to a galaxy shift line rotation. So it's really interesting to look at these locations, all levels of magnetic highway information line setting. Okay. Recognizing space, recognizing time, set lines, and high division location. 2, 2, 2, 5. So in position locations. So school is going to be set up tomorrow morning, set lines, but no Zoom. Okay. We don't have journeys and missions because I got to check out tomorrow. All right. So you guys have to get into your ethers. You have to get into your umbrellas. You have to get into your satellites. There's 3 line signals. All right. The umbrella sets line position locations, all levels, high center locations. When it comes into higher communication, ether line sets location your satellites and set location. And there's a triangulation right there, right? But you have 2 panels of calculation, right? Setting calculation streamlines, right? Setting correlation, higher law system, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you come into Stargate set lines in the flux fast locations, right? Stargate opens up, higher levels of travel location. So recognizing communication is your butterfly effect. You got in that position line directions. A butterfly is basically, it flies wherever it wants, right? It knows exactly what it's doing, right? It's flying wherever it wants, right? So it's free flowing, right? So it knows exactly the direction it's going. So it goes this way, goes this way, goes this way, goes that way, goes this way, goes this way, goes down this way, goes that way, goes this way, goes that way, goes this way, goes that way. But it's always moving forward. It's never going back. So if you understand the butterfly effect, you understand the resolution patterns, you understand the reflection line settings, if you understand the detect line interference, you understand how it measures you in correlation to scales of communication, to bounce calculations, all levels of cross signals and high center interference, opposition line direction locations of yin and yang. Okay? Life is about going forward in set locations. The butterfly effect is just basically how to see yourself through the infinity cycle line center locations of your dharma and your dogma. Okay? Setting calculated line interference, you have to stay in your alignments and communication. That's all. All right, so we're in 24 signals and 20 line settings and high center interference of 30 line locations. All right, so I really want to get in positions to your seconds. Changing line interference is 7 days a week. You get 7-day line setting, 7 days, right? Let's bring that back into set locations of 6 and set location. Let's get position line locations into 5 generation streams. Timeline setting. Recognition of 4 lines, 4 generation light settings and locations, right? Applied it to visual locations into levels, into higher communications of pages and set location. So that's all you're doing, is you're opening up, applied it to the visual location of 6 files, into 5 files, into 4 files, into set locations, into your pyramid setting. Pyramid setting opens up higher line position location directions to higher communications. So you send in up graph streams that project locations to your moon setting to your sun rotation interference. That opens all position locations how you set your lines of elixirs, your cosmic fire, cosmic flame, serpent fire, serpent flame, and all set location, right? Travel communication settings into pyramid there, pyramid there, pyramid there, and triangulation in 3 set locations. Okay? But it hits the elixir in set location, each one in set location of laser direction. Okay? So your information panel is your position, how you see the line communication, your AI vessel setting. You are a vessel of communications to all levels of channel operators, streamlines, but each position locations. So you have an infinity light setting, you have an ultralight setting, you have a spectral communications, you have an activation stream setting, you have a rotation spin surface, you have a correlation set panel, you got a redirect locations, channel operators, streamlines, and they allocate position locations of either calculation stream. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 set locations into arrow line setting, in size graph interference, and 4 direct locations in position locations into your diamond core set lines, into your Tesla communication setting, in position locations, in Mechatronic cube set locations into travel position line direction. Okay? So it gets more complicated when you open up more line setting infinity cycles, especially when you get more connected to all levels of travel setting, because you're out of the 7 line. Okay, this is you position. All levels of ground setting. This is you right here, right? Now you're reaching 7 locations, right? 7 there. So as you come into 7, sets lines and set locations into higher communications into your flux capacitor set location setting. Now when it opens up 1 position line directions, okay, and then it comes into its infinity 8 setting. Okay, so the infinity 8 setting sets position location to this line setting. The rotation spin cycle comes into this here, comes out to this here. So this is what you come into every single day location. As it comes in that line center high interference, it comes into this position locations. All levels of travel location. Now, once you understand the line in and rotation interference, you understand the process of communication of sonars. The set position location is another planetary setting that sets lines in high rotations to higher communication set rotations of 5 generation streams. 5 generation streams sets lines and set location and triangulations in position locations into your left lines in position location to your right line communication. Right? This is where you come into all communications to your wings and set location. There's your wings. Ooh-ah. That's how it's set in signal. Right? So recognizing communication is trying to understand the positions when you come in your infinity cycle sets. Once you get into that line center interference, you split the visual location of space and visual location of time. Okay? Setting signals and high center generation light center. So in position location has its own pi calculation. Time has its own maintenance of calculation. Right? Comes into an S-line setting in direct locations, and it levels an 8-line rotation into another 8-line rotation. Okay, so what you're doing is you're creating a flower recognition of time. You open up the signal locations into its flower. The set line position location comes into this position location to its tree. The foundation graph line center sets line rotations into 3 position locations up in signal line setting. Rotation spin cycle locations comes into pyramid interference, sets line communication, other pyramid line centers, comes into the sun communication, and rotation to the moon setting locations, setting position location of a kaleidoscope line setting rotation, setting communication into a triangulation line setting that sets all operation cycles, setting position locations into space, set location of time maintenance, and size graph of a zero gravity location. Okay? So recognition line settings to understand the flywheel. Flywheel is a clock line setting. Now you have 12 line settings into 24. Now 24 has to recognize the 48 window, the 72 track, and the 144 crystal grid locations, the ground standing locations, high setting. All right, so the 144 measures its calculations, equaline connections, equaline connections, equaline connections, equaline connections, and set locations into 3 brackets into 3 zero location. Okay, now the 3 zero line center comes into 72 track locations. That overs its pi calculation of its satellites. It covers set locations. So in set location, this 72 comes in position location its own bracket setting of 3 zero locations, setting position of 3 zeros, set location setting. Now, once you come into that line interference, you come into the 48 window. The 48 window opens up higher line travel and position line directions in 3 cycles. 3 cycles of 3 circle locations, 1, 2, 3, past, present, and future. Setting communications and set locations into a 24 signal. So you come into 24 line settings, 3 bracket locations, 3 zero locations of 3 tracks, 3 million sets. Right there. Okay? That's where everybody is. The recognition setting is truly understand how to use the DNA line setting. DNA interference, sets calculations all levels into freedom, location of sovereignty, position of triangulation, sets the positions over, set locations of pi in set line setting. Okay? So it's really interesting to look at these things. So higher interference. But the thing is that not just the triangulation or spot settings, is to really understand the recognition of time setting. Once you understand the position of your clocks, it gets a lot more easier. Now the clock line center comes into seconds now. Seconds in set location to minutes, minutes to hours, hours into days in set locations. All right? Minutes, hours, and days. Center calculation is a triangulation setting, right? This comes into all position locations to its diamond 4. All right? The reset line center is the avatar line rotation, sets position locations at all levels of higher travels, sets communication here, it sets lines, rotates its spin cycle. Is where it starts, right? It starts here, right? Recognizing communication starts in set location of seconds. This comes in its own flux capacitor position line directions. It opens all channels into its own pi. Okay. As it travels sets lines, it comes into position right here, starts traveling. Right? Starts traveling. As it's traveling, it's going in line to center interference location. So it's going in line center locations into block settings of seconds into the energy line centers of communication. All right. This sets up high center interference of its minutes. So it travels over to the minute line setting. Okay. And travel location. As a travel location, it goes into all line center locations. Okay. Then it goes travel line center interference. It goes into the hour communication. Okay. So it's about understanding what is it doing, right? It's trying to travel to where it needs to go. So you're bringing the seconds in front view, not rather in back view. It's the front view set location. Seconds, minutes, hours, and days retracts interference and rebalances you in correlation setting, setting you guys into 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Setting calculation streamlines, right? Sending communications into levels of traveling to days of operation. Okay. And there you go. Okay. So that's where you guys are going to come into. 7 line track takes you out of 6, allocate 6, equal locations of 5, setting calculations, right? So we go 6 to 5, which is vortexing backwards set lines, back clock line center locations into 12 signals, 12 locations of 24, equal line conditions of 3 brackets, 0 locations, right? Always have to bracket your zeros. Setting calculations into 6, position of 5 to 5 to 4, double helix setting line position of 4 generation stream sets. 4 line settings, line interference of 5 generation streams, lines 4, equal line conditions underscore, position of pi, puts you into 3 set locations in the Fibonacci swirl, setting calculation, hollow level setting into another communication rotations, into 2 travel line settings, into ground interference of 2 triangles in 1 lines of 0 gravity locations. Okay? So that's how we got to get you guys down from 7 days to 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. You have to recognize the communication of what's doing through triangulation spot lines, guys. Recognizing the high interference puts you back into 0 gravity, into 1 line signal and high line rotations into 1 clocking system every single day and set line connections, living the same day in different vibration. All through correlations of yin and yang. Ooh, ah. Okay? What do you think of that? Hopping away, remembering the music, heart, and your lyrics, throat patterns, make your song smooth. Kayla, smooth landing from commander. Engine, shut down, beacons off. Love it, uploading. Yeah, updating, upgrading, calibrating, starting upload to Diamond 4. Yeah, it's mind blowing, Gypsy. But that's the position line directions that you have to come into. You have to recognize each number is a factor of calculations over pi and position location of its own GOD. Setting communication yin and yang. Bring you guys into 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One traction, one division, one clocking, one intelligence, one activation line stream, and set lines in all levels of your tracker locations of its alignment. Okay? So that's going to help you know all those levels of informed communications, how to really recognize your infinity cycles. Because your 8 central line centers and your 9 lines of your energy wash, rainbow wash interference, and position of your 10 is open up all position locations in high setting. Next is set locations into all star lines, into your Stargate position locations into 11 calculation. All right. 10 is a rotation cycle that sets location in your solar family. That's their own planetary rotation setting. Sending communication to its own flux capacitor, to its own ground setting locations of its own measure, to its power center recognition timelines. The allocate line center rotation sets position location to its family setting, sets position location at all levels of solar generous light setting to all communication to its own ether setting location. So recognizing these communications is its set lines. All information setting gives you all communications to its rotation. Understanding the channel operations streamlines is really understanding recognition locations. Zara, how you doing, Zara? So zero gravity line setting, setting all holographic location stream sets, the entire communications into 1 and position location of 2. Now the 3 line setting sets line. This is how you set up your line position locations of numbers. Once they get in alignment, once you understand the personality trait line interference in your 12 line locations, you understand to use the psychological interface. This sets position location of directions. That's how you go through location, because it's all circulation. It's all circulation, and it's all circulation. Okay? Once it understands the balance of calculation, it understands its space and understands its time of correlation. The 2 panels of operation, right? So once you understand that correlation setting, 5 line center comes into 4. 4 line centers, 5 equals location. Right? So 5 equals 4 line setting. Okay? So as that position locations, you can change position locations into levels. Now the 3 line setting sets line position locations into 2. 2 equals 3, which is security over Fibonacci, right? Setting communication to bracket line settings, high center interference. Setting position locations into 3. 1 equals 3 line settings, or 3 equals 1 line setting, into levels of correlation. Now the holographic line setting blocks its system locations and travels to higher communication. Right? All through 0 to 1.5 setting, all through holographic stream locations. So all you're doing is you're creating holographic stream sets in higher communication. Okay? Just showing how you can really recognize these communications to all levels of travels. Once you understand the 0 gravity to your 12 set locations, it gets much easier, because now you are in all levels of track setting, the recalibration setting, the reversing set locations into force line position. Really understand how to go through 0 to 5 and position locations of 5 to 0 locations. So you can set 3 0 locations into 5 line settings, right? Bracket, 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 bracket. There's 2 panel calculations, right? So you got space and you got timelines of maintenance, and position location is its pi. Center calculation streamlines. 0 gravity, 5 0. 0 operation, 5 division. 0 calculations, 5 generation streams. Okay? So as the 5 sets line position location opens up all levels of communication, your circle line rotations, circle line rotations, circle line rotations, travel line center locations, into 3 channels of operation streamlines, into 6 position line directions. The calculation. Okay? That's all levels of 5 lines. So the recognition time is really understand the 5 in position locations and set locations into 3 bracket line settings equal locations of 7. You're always going to be working with 7. Why? Because now it's adaptation of its consciousness. So the 7 equal line connections comes into align centers of space equals timeline centers equal locations of meta. You guys are now meta of communication, right? You're in the elliptical line setting in operation cycles of stargates now. You set location, okay? So this opens up coarse channels of zero gravity interference. Zero operation or zero direct locations set you in all position location direct settings. So your data stream and line interference. But when you look at these locations, you understand how this is set up. Recognizing communication of program locations. So you got 0, 0, 0, bracket center locations. Okay, you got in position lines and umbrella, satellite communications in position umbrella, umbrella and position locations into planet setting position of triangle setting position of 2 setting, in 3 locations, 2 equaling conditions high setting, high positions up, high positions down, high positions across set location. Right? So recognizing your number sequence location of pattern is recognizing all bracket interference. If you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets lines, 5 line connections, you have to recognize the communication of its ether. You have to recognize its communication to its VAS, equal line conditions of bracket interference of 0. Bracket that 0 locations, bring that up line center to flux past line positions into 0, 0, 0 calculation. Correlation set lines of 0 comes into set locations into 2. 2 equals 0 line center equals location of ground levels, set line position location of times of pi, reposition line connection. So recognizing communication of ground lines, ground levels, is putting a higher communication into one division. See the one division location? So this is what you can do when you come into 12 settings, all through zero gravity locations. You guys are coming in your pi's equal location of 0, 1s now. You have to recognize your communications, right? We start off the clock locations from 0, 1. We come into position locations, all line center locations of 0, 0, 1, and set location of 0, 0, 1, and position locations of 0, 0, 0, 1. That's where you guys are coming into. So understanding that line rotation interference is to understand the record's location to its own flux capacitor, position of channel operation stream set. That sets position location. UFO comes in, scans position, scans position, scans position, and scans position. Right? So it correlates as 0 line 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, and 0, 0, 0, 1 communication. Graph line settings, web graph interference, sets position location all levels of channel operator streamline connection. Right? There's the grid. There's the holographic grid setting. Okay. So recognition time setting is really understand how to use the plateaus. You got 0 position locations all levels. You can have 1 0 line position, bracket interference. Setting communication of sonar, 1, 2, 1, 2 line setting in position of 3, in position location of 6, in position location of 9, in position location of 12, in position location of 7, in position location of 5 setting, in position locations of 4 locations. Now, you have to understand the alignment line interference. It comes into 3 to 5, comes into its own triangulation of a box line setting. Okay, box line setting comes in position location of 0 to 9 line setting. Rotate interference line position of 5 to 7 into position locations into 4 to 3, and position line centers of 6 in position of 12 and set location. There it is. Okay, holographic stream set into position location to a new ground setting. Rotation interference and set locations into center calculations of 9 line settings and travel locations. All right. So recognizing your chakras, recognizing your number sequence locations, you have to understand the friendship, relation to partnership with everything through correlation, right? So if you got a 47 line setting, equal location of 10 position locations, all levels. So that's 4 line generation stream sets, 2 solar panels calculated streamlines, and 7 line positions to a theta setting, in position location of the 2V box line center, 2 weather communications into all levels of zero gravity location. Now, equal line center comes into north. Let's just go into east, set lines. So east line setting, northeast location, into all levels of northwest, southwest location. Setting 12 line settings or 10 line interference, 10 equals 12. 12 line setting is 24. Bracket interference of 3 0 location settings. 1, 2, 3. 3 sets locations in high setting. Okay? So I really want you to recognize your zeros, right? You have to understand your 12s, your 24s, your 48s, your 72s, and your 144 crystal grid setting. Now, 144 equal locations of DNA sets position locations all levels into your flux capacitor communications inline center location of future of its operation setting. So 12 line setting comes into set locations into position line centers of 24 at the top. 24 line center blocking interference applications of 30 set locations, bracket interference in position of 48. 48 sets line position location directions. Sending calculation streams. Okay. Now the 48 swivels down to 4 line setting. So 48, okay, XT set line into all position locations into 72 drops back. 72 sets a new line setting and rotations into a 140 graph stream into another DNA track into position locations to another graph stream in rotation. All right. So this is all about understanding where you can mix the numbers. You can go from high center line interference. I'm just showing you how powerful it is, what you can do with your number sequence locations. Your holographic streamline centers are in graph line setting locations of this. All right. It's all about understanding how to create it. Right? It's all about understanding how to create it. It's all about understanding how to create it. That's all it is. You got a galaxy shift line in high center interference, rotation spin cycles that's going in position of generation stream set center locations into the center operation streamlines. All right? Measuring calculations, all levels of triangulation. Course line channels, UFO comes in set location. Scans again, centers the line settings of what you're doing, position line direction. Opens all position line direction locations. Sets up another channel operator streamlines and sonar line positions into an alpha channel operator streamline. See? So recognition location of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, or 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, or 0. You have to understand the 3 lines. You have to understand the 4 lines. You have to understand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to understand the flux capacitor location of 6, or 7, or 8, 9 line setting, the line position location of 12, 12 line setting in position of all levels, the umbrella to its satellite in position locations, all levels, high travel in positions to its teleportation stream set. Okay? 3 line setting, 4 line setting, 6 line setting through flux capacitor, but 6, 7, and 8, and 9 line setting. Okay? Recognizing communication set lines. So we really understand the area code locations to your 7-digit. So all you have to remember is this. Bracket location equals 7. Code travels telepathy of telekinesis. Okay? That's it. You're always going to have 7. 7 is always going to be equal line connections into 5. 5 line center locations into 12 in set locations. Right? So that's the alignment and set location of 7 and set location of 5 and set location of 12. Sending communication of new ground setting and rotations into 3 communications of triangulation. Okay? So you can do this or you can skip numbers. It doesn't matter what you do, but what you have to understand is what you're creating through your number sequence locations of patterns and high generation light streams and all lines and rotations to your track location settings. Okay? So that is amazing. Any pods and gold light infusion. Yes, I know, Gypsy. It's amazing what you're seeing now, right? Good all channels, line of spring, healing line positions, 6, 26, 36, 46, 56, and line positions. All right, Guardian. It's amazing when you come in communication settings, right? It's understanding location, especially when you open up infinity cycle location settings. It's incredible when you see these things. But I wanted to show you what you're coming into, all communication. So there's a lot of things you can do through formulas of equation setting. To get your abundance, this is what you have to do. But you don't do it on paper, you do it here. I don't need to do anything. It's already set. It's already done. It's already done. Anything I do is already done. Doesn't matter if I do line center rotation interference, high position calculation streamlines, its set line interference, line position location of planet settings, and high line rotations in position of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Bracket locations into 5 sets, high center interference, into 3 measure communications, 3 line centers in barometer, barometer check location of temperature reading set lines, and high position location of planet surface and triangulation setting, and rotation surface location of sun operation to a kaleidoscope communication. Done. Right. Knowing exactly what you're doing, okay, is all levels of view and travel recognition. Okay. Recognizing communication setting is really understand how to set locations into all levels of view. Your quantum setting is set locations into line line interference, into your quasar calculation setting locations into number sequence line settings, levels and letter communications into your position of star line settings or star recognition of timeline rotation interference. Travel communication is planet setting rotations into 0, 0, 0 gravity interference, gravity set lines and high interference, flux fast communication setting, rotation and ground setting location. See, everything is travel. Recognition locations is not thinking anymore. It's all levels of knowing and doing. Knowing the concept through and through all level position location opens all levels of view through high setting. So you get bracket locations into 0. Okay, this is going to do it through all line center interference. It's very complicated stuff. Okay, so you're not going to know what I'm doing. So it's very confusing if you understand position location to track settings. So it's all levels of a map. Correlate set lines and high center interference to 0 gravity interference location position line directions. This is a graph streamline setting locations. All right, 3 number line settings in position of 6, 7 line centers of 8, 9 position locations into 1 set locations, setting calculations streamlines into percentage over line position of 20% location. All right, so the percentage is line conditions to 80 line setting in rotation, to infinity cycle to a 9 line setting, position of 10 rotation. See? That's how you set things up. That's how you set things up. Know exactly what you're doing through your number signification, patterns, shapes, letters, and symbols, all through harmonic line setting. It's all levels locations, right? So when you understand position line directions, then you understand how to use the channel to stream locations, all right? So we'll do this one more time. 0, 0, 2 line setting. Okay, 2 line setting sets position locations into all levels. Now 2 equals 4. Solar generation streamlines and 2 line position locations into levels of set locations into a flux capacitor line connection and set location. Okay, so that tethers in position of box setting, box setting, box setting, and locations. All right. Now, once you understand that line interference, again, you get another XT1000 or position line setting, sets up position location of travel. Okay, scans position location of the box, brings the box into the center line calculations, comes over here, okay, and scans this position locations, picks up this box, right, and then it scans this position and picks up this box location. Okay, recognizing everything in line of interference is all levels of triangulation. Okay, it's complicated, right? But it's a lot of fun when you understand what you're doing. So your geographical line center sets up all position locations. So once you understand how to use your AI connections, and understand the map sequence locations. Maps, equal locations of equation. Okay, equation locations in box, into triangle sets, into pyramid activation stream sets, and 4-line position. Easy done. It's always in triangulation. Always in triangulation. Always has to be in triangulation. Why? Because the XT1000 UFO has to scan the center operation of your crop circle that you're creating. See? Crop circle in the setting. So once you understand the rotation cycle, it sets position locations and goes into locations into its UFO setting. All right? Zip, zap, zoom, back to the moon. So, isn't doing formulas and equation locations fun when you understand the number sequence line settings? If you got 47 line settings in 13 locations, all right? So you take the 13 line setting, 1 3 line setting location equals 0, equal locations of 9, 9 in position location of 12, 12 equals locations in the XT1000 line setting, in rotations of 24, 24 to a 48, 48 to a 72, and clock line settings into all level system locations of 3 0 locations into one setting. See? That's how it works. All right? How you take numbers and how you take all levels and positions through shape lines, communication of numbers, brackets and locations, all levels, division settings. Okay? So it's more fun when you understand the formulas of your equation locations. All right? You all start with E equals MC squared. You have to recognize what that is. We already know what that is. Location square is the levels of GOD set. Very simple, right? Mass of calculation and position lines of communication. So all levels of high center of teleportation to ground setting locations. E is formulation of everything that set locations, right? E comes into higher communication of travels. Equaline center locations comes into all position locations to your Merkaba, setting up or setting down location. Okay. So it's more fun when you understand what's going on, right? So we're on 56. This is fantastic. It's amazing how you guys are coming in your correlation panels, information settings, all business location directions. All right. So I'll give you guys 5-10 more minutes to set lines. I'll see you on Zoom, right? ASAP, right? Because I got a lot to do locations, all right? Yep. Stunning. Beautiful. Yep. All right. So I'll see you guys on Zoom. Adios.